Hey everyone. So, not too long ago, I made an announcement that I was going to be doing a Q&A because I had finally reached 500 subscribers. And now I am at like 524, I think. So that's really exciting. So, I got some really great questions and let's get into them. So, from the Writing Sisters, they asked, what is your favorite book and your least favorite book? So, I think, other than your basic answer, we readers always have a hard time with this question because, yeah, you do have the book that you go back to, which technically I guess could be your favorite, but then you also have your favorite in genre, your favorite book with your favorite character, your favorite series, etc. You guys know what I mean, right? It's a hard question. It's a fun question to think about, but it is hard. Um, but my go-to answer, it's probably The Hunger Games, the first book, because I've read that the most out of any book I've ever read. I love the entire series. I do. I did enjoy the prequel. I didn't like it as much as some of like the other books in like the original trilogy. But I think that's just because I had to get used to it because it is quite different. But I did really enjoy that book, especially the second time around when I really got to, I guess, know the story a little bit more. Um, but yeah, The Hunger Games, the first book, is probably my favorite book. And then I love the other books in the series, as I said. I really enjoyed the Caraval series. I did like the Giver Quartet, but I just didn't care too much for the later half of the last book, the book Sun. I think the best in that series is The Giver and Gathering Blue, but I did like that one. Um, I like John Green's books. I like Looking for Alaska a lot more now than I did before. Love the Lunar Chronicles. I really like Three Dark Crowns, which is another series. Um, I like Stargirl. I like Battle Royale. I like Lovely Bones. I like quite a few books. But if I had to pick, definitely The Hunger Games is my favorite, and a second, a very, very close second, um, is an anthology called Zombies vs. Unicorns. That is the only one that could like rival The Hunger Games right now. For least favorite books, I've been lucky enough not to really, really hate a book that I've read. There have been books that I have been slightly disappointed on, but other aspects of the story were decent enough for me not to hate it. I was just kind of disappointed. Some of the books that kind of disappointed me were um, All American Girl, but then again, I wasn't super, super crazy about The Princess Diaries either. That's one case where I would probably watch the movie again before I would read the book, even though I have to finish the series. It seems like the idea of her stories are better than the actual stories, if that makes any sense. Um, like, the idea is good, the premise and everything, just the execution is bad. Get away. Oh my god, you almost knocked that down. But yeah, All American Girl, which is by Meg Cabot. Um, what else? I liked her story, I think it's called Princess Pretty Pants, in Zombies vs. Unicorns. That one was pretty good. I like that one. I don't know if it's a top favorite, but it was still enjoyable. I was also kind of disappointed by How to Ditch Your Fury by, I think her name is pronounced Justine Larbillestier. I think that's how you say it. She didn't have a story in Zombies vs. Unicorns, but she was one of the two, people who compiled it together, like one of the editors. I started reading one of her other books. I got to go back to My Sister Rosa, which I'm liking a lot better. And it feels like My Sister Rosa um, is what it says it is. Where How to Get Your Fairy is supposed to be like this world where people have like fairies they're born with, and the fairies like do stuff for them. Like the main character has a parking fairy, right? And she doesn't drive. I think she's old enough to learn, but she just doesn't want to because I think she's like 16 maybe, something like that. But basically, her fairy helps her get good parking spots, right? So there's like fairies that help you out with things like maybe finding money, certain talents, and stuff like that, right? But nobody ever interacts with these fairies. In fact, some people don't even know if these fairies actually exist. So I was kind of expecting to have interactions with these fairies, like the main characters knew their fairies, saw their fairies, but if you were to remove the fairy thing, it reads as like a contemporary YA, like a John Green book, or something else, like realistic fiction. You can remove the fairies, like I said, you can remove the fairies from that, and it wouldn't change much. It's not a bad story. It's not what it says it is. Also cut, I've read books with hard topics and everything, and this one just didn't seem to have much of a story to it, like not enough background to it. It's very short, not a whole lot happens, and you just don't get a lot of answers. Like I said, these books aren't horrible, just not my favorite. What's a book you'll always recommend? Probably Zombies versus Unicorns, because I think there's something in there for everyone. If you can look past the fact that it's YA, there's so many good stories in there. And that's not to say that YA is bad, because like I said, some of my favorite books are within the YA, I'm not going to say genre because it's not a genre, the YA category, right? There's nothing wrong with it, but some people feel, if you're an adult, you're too old to be reading it or whatever. I don't follow that crap. But yeah, like I said, I do feel that it's probably something for everybody because it's a mix of dark and humor and even a lot of thoughtful things. And the last question, oh no. Okay. So the next question is, what is your favorite place, food, color, and season? Favorite place? I don't know if I have specifically a favorite place. I have places that I like to go. I mean, I like being outside in general. I don't get to go enough, but... So getting back to what I was saying, for like little places, I just like to be out. I like the library. I like thrift stores. Just being out in general. I guess for more like major places, when I get to go, I like to be around water. So I do enjoy being around like beaches. Even in some woodsy areas. I don't get to go too often, but I do enjoy being out in nature. I did enjoy being in California, despite my circumstances. The mountains were really pretty. I really enjoyed being in Minnesota too, despite the cold. I didn't like that part. But there were some like really nice places over there. So yeah, anything that's like more naturey, if I'm going to live there. I enjoyed being in a city when I was younger. things seemed a little bit more lively then. But yeah, anything that I can walk through, look at, enjoy, kind of like that stuff. Favorite food? Probably seafood. Seafood and fried rice. Really love like the house fried rice that you get at Asian restaurants. The mix of like the chicken and the shrimp and all that stuff. I really like that. But yeah, I like most fish, shrimp, that kind of thing. My favorite color is purple. My second favorite color is green. My two favorite seasons are spring and fall. I do enjoy summer too. Winter has a certain beauty to it. I just don't like being out in it. But I think spring and fall has a good balance there. I love the rain. I love thunderstorms. Fall, you got your pumpkin spice, you got your spookiness, you got your pretty leaves. I love it. And the last one is, what is your favorite anime and manga? So I'm still going through a lot of it. As of right now, I would say probably Sailor Moon. I'm just finishing up the manga. I watched most of the anime. A second one, mostly for the anime, because I'm just getting into the manga, I would say Inuyasha. I really like that story. I also really enjoyed Pokemon. I only watched like the first season, but I really did enjoy that. But as of right now, I'm going to have to say Sailor Moon. So, the next one, Mindy's book journey. She asked, can you show your pets and tell us about them? So, I did a little clip, so I will insert that. But we have two cats. One is an orange cat, technically my mom's, but they're all our cats or whatever. Yeah, his name is Jasper. He's 5 now, I think. My cat Spirit is like 10, I think, 10 or 11, something like that. But yeah, you've definitely have seen Jasper lately in my videos, because when I sit here and I try to record, he's all up in my face because he's needy and he likes to cuddle. Spirit, we, about like 10 years ago or so, it's like 2013, me and my dad, I can't remember who else was there. I think maybe Nate was there, but when he was smaller. We were driving and there was like this farmer or whatever that had a sign for free kittens. So we went and looked at him, and we decided he was the cutest one. We didn't know at the time if they were boys or girls. Yeah, I don't think so. Or maybe they thought he was a boy, which he is. But I can't remember if they were too sure. So they were just like old enough to be, kind of like weaned from their mothers and everything. And he was such a little goofball. He loved to ride on your shoulder like a little parrot and everything. And he's not as up in your face as he used to be, but again, he's like 10 years old now, so he's a little bit more calm than he was before compared to Jasper, who's, obviously younger. But he's still my Fluff Muffin. That's what I call him. I don't know where I came up with that name. I just call him my Fluff Muffin. So yeah, Jasper is orange with some white. Spirit is all white with blue eyes. Jasper used to have blue eyes. His eyes changed, but Spirit's eyes never changed. They have been blue for his whole life. And I will insert the little clip of them that I have here. Alright, so here's Jasper. Jasper. Here's Jasper. And here is Spirit. Hi, kitty. I'm pretty kitty. Alright, and the last one is from Mandy Garrett, and she asks, what are some specific tropes you like to write about? I never really thought about it. I don't know if I would call it tropes or themes. Maybe more themes. I don't know if I've written a specific trope yet. Although I have a feeling once I write my fantasy story, it's going to have some tropes in it, because technically all stories do to some degree. And I don't know if I want to call it a chosen one trope, but it's kind of close to it. And you gotta be careful with the chosen one trope, because it can, go pretty bad. But sometimes it's good. I'm trying to write one that's maybe good. Because there are certain ways that you can do the chosen one, where it's not really the chosen one, if you know what I mean. I feel like The Giver had an interesting way of doing the chosen one. I know some people say that with the Hunger Games, but I think it's more circumstance than chosen one. So yeah, it really depends on the twist, but I have a feeling that's gonna come up a couple times, and I gotta figure out how to work that in the story that I'm writing. But one thing I really like to write is humor, especially sarcastic humor, especially in certain situations where it's kind of like the only way for you to mentally survive, right? And the other one is dealing with grief in a way, or those feelings of emptiness. The other one is, what is your favorite trope to read? I'm pretty sure these count as tropes. I like books like The Little Chronicles, and again, I love The Hunger Games. And so I would say books that deal with friends, siblings, especially sisters, and people just becoming family, which I think is found family kind of thing. So I would definitely say friendship / siblings, and found family, which can all kind of combine together. That's probably my favorite one I grab towards. So that looks like all the questions. Thank you guys so much for asking them and supporting the channel. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye, everybody.